We're here today with a friend of mine. I say friend, and then we just talked about how we haven't talked in about a year or so. But it was probably 2 years ago. I was looking for someone to interview at a big staff event that we were doing, and some people in our care network pointed me to Mazi Robinson, who is a therapist and does practices here in the Atlanta area. And you were lights out. I don't want to set the bar too high, Mazi, but you were really, really good. Loads of great comments. And then we've done one of the things since then. So anyway, thanks for being with us today. Just curious, how has this disrupted your life? You're a mom. You're a working mom.
I am. I would say that the apple cart has been tossed in the air and everything is just falling all over the place.
Way to put it.
Every morning I wake up and I try to, the first thing I think is, what day is it? Because I'm having trouble remembering the day. Right. And then my second thought is always, this is crazy. I can't believe this is our reality. It's just, it's affected every aspect of my life, and I know everyone else's life. It is truly an unbelievable experience. Yeah.
My wife told me yesterday, I was telling her about this podcast. She was like, hey, please don't use the term unprecedented time on this podcast, because I've heard that so many times. But I got to be honest with you, it is an unprecedented time. So,
these are indeed unprecedented days.
These are unprecedented days, yes. Hey, so we titled this, How to Deal with Our Anxiety During a Pandemic, which you and I laughed about before we hit record, because of course, there's a lot of anxiety in a pandemic. None of us have ever experienced this. None of us have ever gone through this. But let's just start with this, Mazi. Why... You mentioned earlier that it's almost normal. Why is it normal for us to be experiencing anxiety now?
Yeah, I think that's a really important thing for people to understand, that if you are feeling anxious, that is absolutely understandable. It is absolutely normal. And there's nothing wrong with you. You're not doing something wrong. It's not an issue of not having enough faith or not trusting the people in charge enough. Our anxiety is a normal response to what's going on. And the reason for that is because we are in absolutely foreign territory, number one. We have been pushed out of our comfort zone into this unknown world of, shelter down and grocery stores not being fully stocked, which is something we all probably experienced before, and not being able to talk to people and not being able to go places. And our routines and our schedules have been totally disrupted. And the thing that we have to understand about our brains is that our brains always perceive change and uncertainty as a threat. It is a tiger, if you think about the whole fight or flight response. Yeah. And our brains are always assessing if we're okay. Our brain's one job is to keep us alive. And so the way that it does that is it's constantly assessing if we are in danger. And if one of the things that our brain perceives as dangerous or a threat to our being is uncertainty. And for that reason, it explains why because we crave certainty, we crave being in control, we crave security and comfort. Even the most spontaneous like to have a sense of security and comfort. And in the past 2 weeks, all of that has kind of been thrown out the window. We've been pushed into a season that's totally out of our control. We've been pushed into doing things and changing the way we live that is beyond our choice, beyond our knowledge of knowing how to do things. So thus we feel, for some of us, like I'm homeschooling my child. I don't know how to homeschool my child. We just did a lesson on crayfish. I don't know. And so that triggers my adequacy. Oh my goodness, this is something. What if it's going to? It just starts with tape of fear and anxiety. And so I think, going back to the question, I think it's important to recognize we are going to feel anxious because we are in unknown territory. And when our brain perceives us in unknown territory, when our brain perceives a lack of certainty, the brain's response is anxiety. And so you are feeling more anxious. That's normal. And I think to take that a step further is to also understand that when we are feeling more anxious, we're also going to be feeling a lot of other things in addition.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, we're going to be feeling less patient. We're going to be feeling more frustrated. We're going to be feeling more inadequate in certain situations, more insecure. We're going to be feeling an increase in our sadness. All of these things kind of go along with feeling anxious. And for a lot of us, maybe we aren't comfortable feeling anxious because we perceive like, I'm strong, I'm confident, I'm not anxious. And so our anxiety come out in a different way. Confession, for me, sometimes my anxiety does come out in frustration. And so it just really being so aware of what we are feeling so that we, in those moments where I am feeling frustrated and, oh my goodness, I can stop and go, okay, right now I'm feeling very anxious. I'm feeling very anxious that the grocery store still doesn't have bread and et cetera, et cetera. And so just understanding how your anxiety comes out can be so important in moving through all of this and just having compassion on yourself that, oh, I'm anxious and I'm frustrated right now, but really I'm anxious, if that makes sense.
That's so helpful for me. I had to apologize to my kids a couple times this weekend just because I felt like I was shorter than I want to be as a parent. And I had to go to them and say, hey, I'm so sorry. I don't know why you wrestling in the kitchen immediately made me want to send you to your room, but it did. And I'm sorry about that. But that's really helpful for me to know. Hey, it makes sense that I would have a lower tolerance for wrestling in the kitchen because I might be more irritable because of anxiety. That's helpful for me. What would you say? What's your bite-size helpful self-care advice, Mazi, for people that are trying to figure this out?
Yes. So a couple of concrete things come to mind. Given that we are just swimming in uncertainty and we're swimming in things that are beyond our control, we want to identify the things that we can control. There's a lot that we cannot control, but there is a good bit that we can control. And we don't want to become rigid or obsessive, but we want to identify the things that we can control. And so one of the things that I've been telling clients is it is very important to create some sort of routine schedule. We do better, all humans, again, even spontaneous, we all do better on some sort of routine schedule. Now, it may not be the same every day, but creating some sort of schedule. At the top of that list, I have been telling people, take a shower every day. And I know that sounds basic, but take a shower every day in the morning and change your clothes. And again, that sounds so basic, but it's very easy when we're cooped up inside all day to be like, I don't remember, did I shower today? And I'm still wearing stretchy pants. And it's important to paint stretchy pants. And the reason for that is because you're just sending your body, you're sending your mind, your soul a message of, okay, I'm taking care of myself and I can control taking care of myself. A schedule is also really good for kids. They always thrive in a schedule and it gives them a sense of security. Eating at the same time every day, again, just creating some sort of routine and structure and a sense of what I can control.
Great.
So important that we connect in any way we can, not in person, but with our friends, our coworkers, our family members. Thank goodness we live in a day and age where we can video conference. I really think that's going to be a saving grace for a lot of people. And so if you're in a small group, continue meeting with your small group. Set up a Zoom thing. If you have a group of friends that you always do a monthly dinner, do your monthly dinner and everybody just eat on the Zoom call. texting with friends. The isolation is something just from an emotional health perspective that we really want to be aware of, and continue reaching out to people as often as we can, because we do have to physically isolate, but relationally we want to stay as connected as possible, because reaching out to people is one of the best ways that we can manage our anxious feelings and any sort of depressive feelings, sad feelings that may also come along with that. So the importance of a routine and a schedule, the importance of reaching out to people and developing those connections. I also think, although today it's raining, but getting outside and walking is so important. Even if you don't feel like it, especially if you don't feel like it, just a break from the indoors. Those are kind of the top three things that stand out to me.
What would you say, Mazi, for people that are going, hey, I feel very anxious and I don't know when I need to reach out and get help? What are some of the buoys or the markers or the things that they can watch out for to go, oh, hey, when that happens, that's probably a sign that you need to call someone, tell someone, have a conversation with someone, maybe even call a professional?
Yes. Well, and that's a great question, because it's kind of like, well, how do I know when my anxiety is in the normal range for what I'm having to live through and when I'm tipping into something bigger?
A whole pack of Oreos today. Is that like, should I be scared? Like, should I be alarmed? That kind of thing.
Exactly. Where's the line in the sand? One thing I would say about that is make sure you are connecting with at least one person every day, whether through a text message or phone calls or Zoom calls or FaceTime. Do not let a day go by without contact.
Yeah.
But I think the sign that, oh dear, I really need to talk to someone, I need to process with a friend, or maybe I need to reach out to a professional, is if you are feeling so overwhelmed that you're becoming paralyzed. You can intellectually recognize, okay, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, but there is just a paralysis of, I can't even decide what needs to be done next.
Get out of bed. Yeah.
I can't get out of bed. I'm not taking care of myself. I'm not eating. I'm not showering. I am isolating even more. These are all signs that, okay, I'm drifting into a not great space, and I need to let someone know that I'm not doing my best.
That's great. I want to shift gears for a second and talk about parenting. You've got two little kids, 8-year-old and a 4-year-old. We've got kids in our house as well. What do you tell parents who are trying to monitor their own kids? Not just did they do their work, but how is their emotional health? Because kids, obviously, they don't have that same ability that we as adults hopefully have, where we can recognize, oh, this is getting serious. What do you encourage parents to do?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, that's something that's been on my mind a lot, is just how are our children going to remember this? Like, this is going to shape their generation. Mm-hmm. Sound too dramatic, but I think that it will. I mean, this is such a huge thing. A couple of things come to mind. One, the best thing that you can do, not to put more pressure on us as parents, but the best thing that you can do for your child is to really be on top of and manage your own anxiety.
Oh, that's great.
To recognize, like, oh, today I'm really anxious and feeling overwhelmed by the homeschool thing, and I just want to scream, to have that self-awareness of, oh, today I don't have a lot of patience. So that you can know that about yourself, give yourself some breaks and some timeouts to go take a breath, take a beat, so to speak, because our kids, they are looking to us. And however amped up we are, they're going to match that. And so it's not that we want to stuff or deny our feelings. We just want to be really emotionally aware so that we know what we're putting out there. with our kids.
Which, sorry, Mazi, but back to what you said earlier about staying relationally connected, just admitting those emotions to someone else at the beginning of the day is such a powerful thing, because until you say it out loud, it almost stays locked inside of you. But to admit it to someone else gives it some freedom and some space, takes some of the power away.
Absolutely. I mean, 1,000%. You know, one day last week, I have a text thread with some friends, and I sent them a text, and I said, today is not a good day. Today is a bad day. And, you know, like, there doesn't need to be an explanation because everybody's living it, you know, but there were a lot of like, yep, I hear you, not a good one, you know. And so, yeah, just admitting it. But I think the other thing with kids is to ask them how they're doing. They may say fine. And so maybe just probe a little deeper, ask them specific questions. Are you missing your teachers? Are you missing your friends? What's this like for you? And also be aware that if your child is not as good with listening, if your child is maybe being a little smart mouth back or whatever, they are also processing a lot. And so their pitcher is full. You know, our pitcher is full, and so just a little thing can make us spill over, and their pitcher is full. And so just giving a lot of grace and a lot of compassion. And when you recognize that they're a little amped up, maybe, to just, you know, pull them aside and sit down and spend some one-on-one time. Just, hey, how are you doing? I know this is hard. And to just call it, don't be afraid. I think with parents, we can't be afraid to call out how hard this is. Yeah. You know, we have to be careful that we don't give them too much information, that we don't give them too much access to news and all the articles, because they cognitively can't digest that in the same way we can. But I think to call out, lovingly call out, this is really hard. I am so sorry you're having to go through this. I know you miss your friends. I know you miss your teachers. I know you miss baseball season, and I know you must be really sad. I'm sad too. And I'm so sorry, bud. I know it's hard. And I think just that empathy of validating what maybe they aren't even able to admit to themselves can just be so wonderful and connecting for them as they figure out this uncertainty in their life.
I love that, because you're absolutely right. Kids just don't have the ability to be able to say that. But one of our greatest opportunities as a parent, you know, we could miss meals, miss assignments, all the challenges and responsibilities that parents have right now. The one thing I think that we could really, if we could get this, things we really are going to be able to get through this, is knowing what's on their heart, really trying to figure out how do I get inside the heart. Yesterday I went on a walk with our older son, and even just not sitting face to face, but walking down the road was so helpful in being able to just ask him, hey, what is this like for you? What are you missing? What are you sad about? And he was way more open to be able to share than two guys sitting face to face trying to talk about their emotions.
Yeah. And that's actually a great point. With any of our children, that parallel experience, they feel much more comfortable sharing. So if you can go on walks with your kids, if you can, to go on individual walks with your kids, I know that may not be possible, and that's fine. But that parallel experience, children are just, on any given day, are much more likely to open up. And, you know, with my son, it has been on our walks that he has told me the most things of how he's doing and how he's feeling. So that's a wonderful tip to share with parents. Yeah.
Mazi, I want to wrap up with this, just a general question about God is a loving father. The way I like to think about him, that he's leaning over the rails, cheering us on today. What do you think he wants for us in this season?
I think, you know, that's such an important question, and it's something that I've been thinking about a lot in my own life and faith life. And you know, in Scripture, you always hear the anecdote of it says, "Do not fear," like 365 times in Scripture. You know, and you know, for so much in my life, for so long in my life, I always heard that anecdote as like, well, God's admonishing me for fearing. He's admonishing me 365 times. And, you know, in recent years, I think I see that differently now in Scripture, and I see it as And he made us, and he made us with the ability to feel fear and anxiety, because in a lot of ways, fear and anxiety helps us stay alive, you know? So he knows we're going to be anxious. He knows we're scared. He knows that, and he's lovingly saying, you know, do not fear. I am so big, and my faithfulness is so big, and I can see so much farther down the road, but I know that you're afraid now. But I can see down the road, and I've got you. I've seen a lot of people, and I've thought about this a lot, but I've seen a lot of people posting about the 23rd Psalm, and just that idea of, you know, the Lord is my shepherd, and what all that means. And he so faithfully and lovingly takes care of the sheep, and he understands that the sheep are going to be scared, and he just brings them back in with the crook of his staff close to him. And so that's kind of the image I've been holding in my mind, is that God is just drawing us near, and he understands we're afraid, and he's just reminding us, I can see down the road. I can see down the road.
Well, those greener pastures feel like the coming months, hopefully, yeah, where we can get back out with each other. But either way, whether it's the greener pastures of today or the greener pastures of tomorrow, that peace that he promises is certainly available. And for those of you watching, listening today, just want to encourage you with that God's peace is present today. It is possible today. It's a promise today. And we're praying that over you and praying that for you. Mazi, thank you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for your investment in our church. We're really, really grateful. And if people want to connect with you, what's the easiest way for them to do that?
They can go to my counseling practices website, which is cultivateatlanta.com, or they can go to my personal website, which is mazirobinson.com.
Awesome. We'll try to link to all that in the show notes. Thanks for being with us today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Share this with a friend if you feel like it's helpful. And we look forward to being back together again physically at some point. And then if not, maybe over the beauty of this virtual technology. So have a great day.